Hi guys, and thank you so much for joining me. If you are new here, I'm Kat and I like to talk about true crime, conspiracies and all sorts of relating things, and sometimes some other crazy videos will be on here as well. Thank you so much for joining me. Police believed the Snake King was beaten to death by one of his beloved pets, but then they found gunshot wounds. Who wanted to kill Benjamin Renick? Be careful who you trust, because at times even family cannot be trusted, and sometimes venom doesn't come from snakes. Benjamin Blue Brick Ben Renick was born on the 4th of August 1987, same year as me, in St. Louis, Missouri. As a child, Ben grew up on a farm with his mother Charlene Mary Renick, his father Frank James Renick, and brother Sam in New Florence, Missouri, whom he shared a close bond with. Ben was a 2006 graduate of Montgomery County R2nd High School. Due to his fascination with wildlife from a very young age, Ben would collect insects, lizards, and snakes every time he went on a hike, and soon Ben's interest led him to get a snake as his first pet. He set out on his path of becoming a snake breeder. Ben used his knowledge of the species and understanding of genetics to design snakes in different colors and patterns through selective breeding. He had been passionate about wildlife all his life. He was particularly fond of reptiles and kept pet snakes, and when he was older, his childhood hobby would inspire him to set up a lucrative business. On April 13 of 2014 in St. Charles, Missouri, Ben married Lily Jo Gallatin. They have lived all of their married life at their current address, and Ben lived all of his life there. Ben enjoyed playing the drums and he liked collecting horror movie props, but more than anything, Ben's life was about his family, and he cherished the time he spent with his wife and two children, his son Matthew Allen Renick and his daughter Emilia Marie Renick. Ben's business, the Renick Reptiles Facility, was established on land in Missouri that was in his family for decades. It bred exotic snakes such as boas, ball pythons, and anacondas. Some were so rare that they sold for $25,000 each, which made Ben world famous in his field. Ben was in the process of selling the python breeding portion of the business to Robin Lehner, a hockey player in the NHL. The sale was valued at a bit over $1 million, and Robin still had to pay around half of it when Ben died. This led to a legal issue between Ben's estate and Robin. Ben's lawyers had claimed Robin stole a few pythons and anacondas from the facility. However, Robin denied this and said the deal was voided when Ben passed away, and in his absence no qualified caretaker was looking after the reptiles. In the end though, the case was allegedly settled in 2019. Given that the proposed sale was about $1.2 million and Ben Renick lived on a property that was later sold for close to $800,000, Ben's net worth at the time of his death was at least around $2 million. His wife Lily Renick, 31 years old, also had her own business. She was a certified massage therapist and always dreamed of opening a spa. This dream became a reality when Ben agreed to fund it. In 2016, with an experience of over 9 years, Lily began operating Ascensia Spa at 2001 Corona Road in Columbia, Missouri, and employed a few licensed therapists. However, unlike Ben's company, his wife's business was struggling financially and had mounting debts. Their marriage was also under strain. They had a child together, and Lily had another from one of her previous relationships. She was unfaithful at least 3 different times and told people that she wanted to leave Ben. Then, on the evening of 8th of June 2017, Lily calls 911, sounding frantic. She said she went to see her husband at work and found that he had been killed by one of his snakes. Emergency services naturally rushed to the location. They were cautious given the report of a dangerous snake on the loose. The police even set up to finding the missing reptile. But when they arrived, The scene was nothing like what they expected to find. Ben was on the ground, but the hundreds of snakes at the facility were all safely sealed in their enclosures. His injuries were not caused by a snake attack. He'd been shot 8 times with at least 4 bullets in the back. Some of the bullet casings were on the floor nearby. I do apologize if you hear that sound in the background. Is the ice cream truck just passing by our house, and I think he stopped here. Investigators believe that he had been killed by an intruder, although strangely nothing was stolen. At the crime scene, the authorities didn't really find a lot of evidence to follow up on apart from the shell casings. The case then turned cold and stayed that way for a couple of years. Now, remember Lily's spa that I mentioned earlier in the video? The spa is also where she plotted her husband's murder with an employee, Ashley Shaw, and an ex-boyfriend, Michael Humphrey. While Michael visited under the guise of getting a massage, the three talked about planning how to kill Ben. Another employee, Rachel Hunt, was also told by Lynn Lee about Ben's murder. Her business was in financial trouble. When a local man named Brandon Blackwell contacted the police, they finally had a break in the case. Brandon is Lynn Lee's ex-boyfriend, and he was in prison on stalking charges. According to Brandon, Lynn Lee confessed to killing Benjamin in June 2017. And with this, the authorities had a new suspect to investigate. Soon, a disturbing plot to kill Ben came to light and involved multiple people, and soon the authorities learned that Lynn Lee's spa business was struggling financially, and the motive was clear: money. They believe Lynn Lee enlisted the help of her employee Ashley Shaw and her ex-boyfriend Michael Humphrey to kill Ben. Later, Ashley and Michael cooperated with the authorities, providing a clearer picture of what had happened. Police could see that Lynn Lee was in line to receive Ben's $1 million life insurance payout, and there was also the money from the sale of his reptile business and the snakes. When she was questioned, she pointed the finger of suspicion at Ben's older brother Sam and even suggested that he was a suspect, but there was no evidence or any motive. Ashley and Michael stated that Lynn Lee alleged Ben was sexually abusing her. In the beginning, Ashley and Lynn Lee began thinking of ways to get rid of Ben and even tried to kill him by giving him a poisoned protein shake. However, Lynn Lee brought Michael, an ex-lover, into the mix when the plan failed. While Ashley stayed at the spa with Lynn Lee's phone, Michael and Lynn Lee drove to Ben's breeding facility on June 8, 2017. Lynn Lee sold the reptile business, and a series of battles began over the land, the snakes, and the money. Suspicion over Ben's death fell on her, while she continued some of her romances. However, there was nothing that could be connected to her. The family had to wait until January 2020 for a breakthrough in the case. Police got a tip-off from a man that Lynn Lee had been dating, Brandon Blackwell. They had a child together, but then they split up and he had been ordered to pay child support. At the time he talked to the police, he was in prison on a pending case for allegedly stalking Lynn Lee. He told officers she confessed to him that she was involved in Ben's death. Suddenly, the plot began to unravel as Brandon led police to Ashley Shaw, who worked at the spa with Lynn Lee. When she was questioned, she told officers Lynn Lee claimed that Ben was being abusive and that she'd even woken to find him raping her. She said Lynn Lee claimed she wanted to leave him, but she was worried he would take the kids and the money. After that, the conversation turned to murder. Ashley said that in May 2017, she helped Lynn Lee ground up Percocet pain relief tablets and they put them in Ben's protein shake, hoping that it would poison him. She claimed that when the concoction only left him drowsy and feeling sick, Lynn Lee then turned to her ex-boyfriend, Michael Humphrey, 35 years old, who had a criminal record. Michael Humphrey and Benjamin Renick were arrested, and in exchange for future testimony, Ashley Shaw faced no charges. When Linley was questioned, she finally admitted that she'd been lying, but she still pointed the finger of blame elsewhere. She claimed she simply asked Michael Humphrey to come with her to Ben's facility that day because she wanted to ask him for a divorce and she was worried about how he would react. While she was outside, she heard gunshots and then Michael Humphrey ran out, telling her they needed to get in the car and just go. She claimed that when she returned, Ben was dead. The police believed that Linley used Michael Humphrey as her hitman. They were both charged with first-degree murder and armed criminal action. In October 2021, Michael Humphrey went on trial after pleading innocent and was found guilty of first-degree murder. He then cut a deal with prosecutors and turned on Benjamin Renick, finally admitted that he was involved and agreed to testify against Ben's widow. He also led police to the location of the murder weapon, which was hidden in a property's wall. He admitted that he supplied the gun but claimed he was only there to protect Linley, who told him that Ben was being abusive, and he insisted it was her who pulled the trigger. In exchange for his help in the case, Michael's rap was reduced to second-degree murder and he got life in prison. Benjamin Renick faced a jury at her trial in December 2021, 4 years after Ben's death. This was also known in the press as the Snake King trial. As she took the stand, she continued to insist she had brought Michael Humphrey to the business that fateful day for support and then he turned into a killer. She alleged that Ben was mentally abusive even though there was absolutely no evidence to support that. "I walked right up behind Michael," she said on the stand, "and then Michael turned around and I saw a gun in his hands. I screamed and ran outside." She then claimed that she heard gunshots and Michael came out and told her to get in the car. When asked about her changing story, she said, "I lied to protect myself and I told a lot of awful lies to do that." When it came to Ashley's allegations about poisoning Ben's drink and Michael Humphrey's involvement, the defense said Ashley told the police what they wanted to hear to avoid charges, and there was no record of Ben telling anyone that he felt ill. Ashley took the stand and said it was Linley who shot her husband. She even sent messages to Linley during the killing to establish an alibi. When she was asked why she held Linley, Ashley said she didn't know and admitted it was the biggest mistake she'd made in her life. The prosecution said Linley had killed Ben for his money and to keep custody of the kids. Her spa was failing and so was her marriage. And if Michael Humphrey suddenly shot Ben, why didn't she check on him or call 911? But instead, she fled the scene with the man she claimed pulled the trigger. Afterwards, she even sent a message to her husband saying that she loved him as though nothing had happened. She also texted Michael Humphrey. The defense said that she made poor decisions during a time of trauma, which was why she had not called 911 straight away. She didn't want to believe that Ben was hurt. However, it was pointed out that she was able to text Michael, the babysitter, and Ben afterwards despite the trauma. The prosecution called her the mastermind of the incident and reminded her that in the aftermath of the killing, she viciously pointed the finger at Ben's brother. "Do you know what kind of cold heart lies within you?" they asked her on the stand. The most damaging testimony came from Michael. He described Linley walking up to Ben while he was attending to his snakes and firing the gun repeatedly. The jury deliberated for over 12 hours before finding Benjamin Renick guilty of the lesser charge of second-degree murder. In January, she was sentenced to 16 years in prison, 13 years for murder and 3 for armed criminal action. She must serve 85% of her sentence before being eligible for parole. "You're awfully lucky, madam," Judge Kevin Crane told her. "You're going to get out in your 40s. During the sentencing hearing, Ben Renick's brother Sam spoke on his family's behalf and read a victim impact letter. "There are lots of victims in this case. The web of devastation travels far," he said, and asked that his brother's remains be returned to their family. "Thank you for this opportunity and may Benjamin Renick rest in peace," he said at the conclusion. Originally, Benjamin Renick was charged with murder in the first degree, but during trial the jury returned a verdict of second-degree murder, deciding that she did not kill her husband with deliberation. I mean, honestly, guys, to me it's quite obvious that there was deliberation there, wasn't it? Her business was crumbling. Ben had a substantial life insurance of $1 million, which would have saved her business potentially. She wanted to leave him for a very long time. She cheated on him on several occasions, and she was also concerned she would lose custody of the kids if they would divorce, and also lose money. So yeah, there's the motive. Plenty of motives there, in my opinion. She went to extreme lengths to get rid of Ben, and that much is quite obvious. And seriously, now seriously, she gets 16 years in prison for murder. I can't help but find it quite unfair and biased. It seems to me that if she would have been a man, then she wouldn't get only 16 years in prison. And I hate to say it because I'm a woman, obviously, but I get the sense that because she's a woman, she only got this much, which is beyond unfair and is not justice at all. I mean, 16 years for taking a life. What does that say? 16 years. And with this we got to the end of today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please let me know what do you think about this in the comment section down below. Take care and stay safe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.